Welcome back to Grassroots Media, and welcome back to this week's edition of the Malone's Wrecker Service Eric Tilson Show, where we cover everything on the Tundra with the North Greene Huskies. As always, I'm sitting here with Huskies head coach Eric Tilson. Coach, how are we doing this morning?
Rough.
Why's that?
Tough loss. One of our coaches just got out of the hospital. So, got a lot dealing with in our program right now. So, it's a good thing we're coming off a bye week. So,
That's what I was about to say. The good thing is you don't have a game for another, 9 days going into the bye week now.
oh, yeah.
You got some time to work on yourself a little bit in practice and fix some things that you've wanted to fix in the past. But let's talk about that Cloudland game a little bit too. 46-8 loss here on the Tundra on homecoming night. It was a very competitive game that the score wouldn't suggest. It was one of those games where I think you controlled what you wanted to control, but the big plays in the run game were what really hurt you in the end. So talk about that loss a little bit.
Well, there at the beginning, we got a big stop to start off the game on that fourth down. D-line did a good job of creating push, caused the center to created a bad snap. So got the ball back, started off with a big run by Darnell, and then had some opportunities in the run game. We knew going into it that our skill guys were faster and needed to create some opportunities in the pass game because they flooded the box.
Mm-hmm.
So they were man coverage for the most part, and when a team goes man coverage, you need to be able to beat them deep. So we took our shots early. And with a young quarterback, sometimes you take some shots that you shouldn't take. So we gave the ball right back to them. They went down and scored, and a lot of that had to do with misalignment. We changed a couple different defenses during that drive, and just misaligned there towards the end. But we kept forcing them to snap the ball. Then we're down 8-0, and then we immediately respond back. And at that point in the game, I was like, we're going to win this game because our kids showed resiliency and fight right then. And then the big thing is you can't keep the other team in the ballgame, and that's what we did with the turnovers. And then the big plays. And, of course, Cloudland's one of those type of teams that once they find something, that's what they need to go to. And they found something. We made our adjustments and just couldn't quite get to the point of attack defensively. So turned into and that's what their offense does. It just wears you out. And then by the middle of the third quarter, the fight wasn't there.
You had Yeshua back this week. He had been absent in the game prior against Williamsburg, Kentucky. You had him back this game, and it seemed like it made a world of a difference, too. You got on the board really early with him, and I'm sure he made a huge impact on defense. How crucial was it to have him back in your lineup?
It's nice defensively because he's about as solid as a rock. It took him a little bit to get in the swing of things, but once he got rolling, it's good to have him back. And plus, what a lot of people don't realize when especially defensively, we've been missing 4 of our 5 top players defensively for better part of 3 or 4 games now. It limits options everywhere else. So when we were playing well, we were able to be 2 rotations deep on the defensive line, which allows us to rest our offensive line. They don't have to play defense. Mm-hmm. And then it allows us to move when Yeshua's there, allows us to move people to the defensive line because closer you get to the box, the harder it is to play both ways. And we've been able to do that in the past couple of weeks with our injuries and with our roster right now. It's been hard to do that. So getting people back has been crucial, and that's a pretty important going into the bye week is we need to get healthy.
Talk about some of those transitions you've had to make on defense with a lot of roster movement and a lot of players being absent. What have you had to do a little bit to try to change things around and make them work within your system?
Well, that's a good thing is we went to our system for the simplicity aspect of it because at the time we didn't have a whole lot of coaches. So it's like, what can we get into that's simple for the players just to go out and play? So if we ever get caught in a bind, which is what we're in right now, we're able to move people, and all the jobs are similar. So that does make that pretty easy. But on the flip side, simplicity does come with some consequences, and part of that is game plan wise. Sometimes you don't have the right answers to what the attack are, and we have built-in answers, but sometimes you have to manufacture stuff, and when you're a depleted roster, it's hard to manufacture stops, because that's something we've been good at over the past couple years is, figuring out where to put people in position to manufacture stops. We haven't necessarily been able to do that.
Seems like your offense hasn't had many roster movements, has it?
We've up front. We've had to move people around up front, trying to find the right combination. And again, a lot of that has to do with injuries and availability, having moved tight ends to the offensive line. I do feel if we can get some consistency of keeping people in the same spot week to week, that would help. But we've got to get healthy first.
Wanted to talk about your offense a little bit more in that Cloudland game also. You got on the board really quickly with Yeshua's 55-yard touchdown run. And then after that, it seemed like they kind of stalled a little bit and weren't able to put any more points on the board. Was it just their defense scouting you well? Was your offense not clicking like you wanted it to on Friday night? Talk about your offense a little bit more.
A lot of self-imposed errors. Didn't really give up a whole lot of pressure in terms of in the pass game. Offensive line did a solid job. But it's just not making the plays when we have the opportunity to make plays, and we're one or two blocks away on one play. We're a cut away from having a big one. When teams are bringing a whole lot of pressure, they're going upfield. You make one kick out block, and then there's nobody behind it. So that's when you're moving people around. That's what tends to happen.
And I know last week was homecoming week also, and I want to get a little lighthearted conversation in here before we go into break. What were some of the best costumes that you saw students wearing last week?
We had about 25 Bucky outfits, so that was definitely interesting.
You could have had a whole baseball team full of Bucky's outfits.
We sure did. We could have had a mascot football team out here, so that'd been entertaining. I will say we had our Powder Puff game out here, and probably the first time in Powder Puff history, they kicked a field goal.
Really?
They had made a field goal. Yeah, it was awesome. So we were officiating the ball game, and I was not fully prepared that they were kicking a field goal, so we had to judge it from the side, see if it went in or not. But one of our soccer players lined up, kicked it, and booted it through. So
did it have space too? Like, was it a?
Oh yeah, it was great.
Awesome.
It was great.
I don't think I've ever seen that in Powder Puff either. I don't ever think I've seen that attempted or heard it be attempted either.
Oh, not at all, but it went straight through the uprights.
Did the seniors win Powder Puff?
No, they did.
Seniors usually win Powder Puff, but you get some upsets every now and then.
You do get some upsets.
Did the seniors that are now seniors win as juniors last year?
I don't remember.
Okay. I didn't know. It's hard to find a class that goes 2-0 because usually those seniors get it done because they've got that experience from the year before. They know.
Yep. We did have two prime times on the sideline coaching, so they had some Deion Sanders.
Coach
Primes on the sideline. So
did they have the gold shades?
Oh yeah.
Did they really?
Oh, yeah.
They had the actual gold shades?
I don't know if they were actual gold shades, but they were knockoffs at least.
That's still pretty cool. I've not seen
had
any
the cowboy hats and everything. So
white hoodies.
White hoodies
with the hood on.
Yep. It was fantastic.
Homecoming week's always fun. It's one of the more fun weeks of the year. Powder Puff Day was. Did you have it during school?
Oh yeah.
That's always my favorite day of the year. You don't have any class.
Yep.
You just go outside and just roast all day.
All day long.
That's all you do. But that's all we've got for the recap. We'll go ahead and jump into the second half. Good news is you got a bye week this week. Don't have any teams to play. Got time to work on yourself now before you jump into another important regional matchup with Unaka. We'll cover that in just a second right after the break here on Grassroots Media.
Pizza, pancakes, or donuts, the Davy Crockett Travel Center in Baileyton has the cure for all your cravings. While you're there, shop our general store for souvenirs, gifts, and cellular accessories. In a hurry, grab a cold drink and a hot dog to go. Check us out on Facebook and come to Baileyton.
At Corner Pond, the friendly and knowledgeable staff has the experience necessary to help you out regardless the need. Have an item of value you'd like to pawn or sell? Corner Pond can help. They pawn numerous items of value, including firearms, tools, ammunition, silver, coins, and much more. When you walk through their doors, you'll find well-stocked shelves full of electronics, gaming systems, fishing and hunting equipment, car audio and accessories. And don't forget about the room full of guitars and basses and amplifiers, or their outside lawn and garden equipment. Corner Pawn is a case knife dealer and carries numerous used knives as well. Stop by and let the friendly staff at Corner Pawn help you today at 432 East Bernard Avenue, Greenville, Tennessee.
Welcome back to Grassroots Media. Welcome back to this week's edition of the Malone Director Service Eric Tilson Show, where we cover everything on the Tundra with the North Greene Husky football team. And as always, I'm here with Huskies head coach Eric Tilson. So you got a bye week now, one of the better weeks during the year. You don't have to prepare for a game. You don't have to prepare about loading up on a bus, painting the field, striping it. You kind of get to work on yourselves a little bit, recover from some injuries, fix some things on the field that you wanted to work on. So what are you going into the bye week working on the most this year?
Well, good thing is, ever since I started coaching, we've been undefeated in the bye week. So look to continue that streak. But main thing is getting healthy, getting some kids back into the fray, which will be good. And then we've got to find some sort of identity offensively and get really good at it this week, which we got time to do so. And a lot of that's going to do with what lineup up front we're going to have. So we got a lot of work to do there. And then defensively, getting back to basics. We got out physical on Friday night, and fortunately, in the last 3 games, we're not going to see another offense like that, but that kind of produced some what we need to work on defensively, especially the physicality up front. There towards the end, our technique got sloppy. Our shoulder pads started elevating. A lot of that comes with stance, so getting back into proper stance every play is huge defensively, especially up front defensive line, and then linebacker is going to make the right keys, which is what hurt us Friday. So getting back to those basics there, and create some positive momentum moving forward is going to be huge. And at this point in the year, that comes from player leadership, and we're calling on our leaders this week to aid in that, which is hard. There's a cost of leadership, and we try to groom our leaders and try to help them along the way. So this is going to be an important week for them as they start maturing, because especially a week like this, when coming off of a bad loss, and you still have a lot of goals intact, and that's like at this point in the year, we haven't been able to say goals are still intact. Our goals are still intact. There's 2 games left that really matter, that have a whole lot of standing in making this season meaningful. Win those 2 games, I mean, you're in territory of top 10 football seasons of all time here. So there's still a lot on the table, and you start playing well towards the end of the year. What a lot of people don't realize is, like, you get the 3 seed, all of a sudden you're not playing the winner of the next region, you're playing the number 2, and you always have a shot in that case. So you're not going in. It's hard to win as a 4. There's been a lot of 3s win. But we had a goal of hosting. That's out of the question now. Mathematically, there's no shot of hosting a playoff game, but we can still get into the 3 slot. But we got to go out and go play well. And if we're playing well by the end of the year, I definitely feel a lot better going forward into the playoffs. So that's what we got to fix this week.
Your bye week kind of sits at a good time, too, to where you can fix those mistakes and go into the last stretch right here on a hot streak.
Yes.
Because if you have it earlier in the year, it's tough to maintain that. But if you can really work on yourselves right here, get those 2 big wins over Unaka and Cosby at the end of the season, then you can put yourself in position, like you said, to possibly be the 3 seed. Still go on the road, but then upset the number 2 in the opposite region. And it's not really that big of a schedule.
Yep.
You've only got a month to really set yourself up with that hot streak.
Yep.
And if you get hot in that certain amount of time, nobody knows what can
happen. That's
happen.
the thing about the high school football and joys of bye week is you can be really physical in a bye week, and don't really have to worry about too many consequences up on Friday night, because we'll have physical practice today, Wednesday, Thursday, and then we'll take Friday off. and then be rock and rolling the next week. So you got a whole weekend to recover from a really physical week of practice. So that's a good part about bye week is we can fix some of the physicality part. We can really get after it this week without trying to gearing up during a game week and then having to gear down to get everybody healthy by Friday. So which is a hard task to do during a normal game week. Well, this week we don't have a game Friday, so we can really gear up and get after it. I know this show will happen on Thursday, so we'll already be done by that point, but we would have had a really physical week of practice.
That was kind of going to be my next question when I went into is give us some insight on what your schedule looks like on a bye week. Would you have gone I was going to ask, would you go softer in your approach during practice and kind of let the guys rest a little bit on a bye week, or would you go harder to kind of prep those guys and keep them in shape? But you kind of answered that right there. You kind of go harder during the bye week, it seems.
Well, it depends on the team, too. So right now we're missing that piece of physicality. We got out physicaled on Friday, so we need to genuinely go through some hard stuff and get mentally prepared for that because we knew we were faster this past week, but it didn't help us. So we need to get mentally prepared, and that's what we need right now. There's some teams that don't necessarily need that, and we just need to get kind of back off a little bit because they're playing really well. So I guess it really just depends on what team it is. But typically, you'll take that Monday off unless there's a JV game. You'll go really hard Tuesday through Thursday and take that Friday off, go scout an opponent, go watch another team play, something like that, kind of go see what other teams in the area are doing. So that's the fun part about high school football is if you really enjoy football, it's nice to go see other teams go play.
It truly is.
Yep.
Are you doing that any this week? Are you doing any scouting?
I'm sure I'll go somewhere.
You just don't have it made up just yet?
No, don't know yet. Sometimes I don't like to venture into Carter County very much. But
There's a big game in Carter County this week, I hear. Or is it in Jellicoe County?
it's in Cloudland.
Oh, okay. Yep. So that's a long drive, though. I don't know if you want to make that drive on top of the mountain.
We've already played both those teams, so I'm not too bad. It is what it is with those teams.
It'd be a good game to watch, but you really don't need to scout that.
I don't want to go up to Roan Mountain.
Yeah. No offense to Cloudland. I've mentioned it on another show, too. That's probably my second least favorite drive next to Johnson County.
Well, it's up there with Johnson County, so.
Yeah. Johnson County's probably my least favorite. It's windy. And just when you think, oh, you're almost here, you're not almost there.
No.
You still got to keep going and keep going and keep going.
Have you ever been to Shirley's?
Where?
Shirley's.
No.
It's on the way up there. It's kind of like you remember The Farmer's Daughter?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's kind
Love
of
that place.
It's kind of like that, except it's up in Johnson County.
Really?
Just right on the side overlooking the lake. It's fantastic. I only do lunch.
They only do lunch?
Yes.
Shoot, probably wouldn't be able to get up there then.
I make sure to get up there anytime I go to Mountain City.
Yeah, there's not many places to go in Mountain City, so Shirley's is probably a pretty popular place.
That, I got pizza. That's about it.
Pizza, every place has got pizza, though. But I think it's about all we've got this week. As you mentioned, though, the good news is you can't beat yourself on a bye week. You can't lose on a bye week. So we'll go into it.
We'll find out.
Get a win this week against yourselves. Work on some things. Come back strong against UNACA. Never know what can happen at the end of the year. Hopefully see a strong playoff push by you guys. But that's all I've got this week. As always, thank you for letting me join in and talk to you again. Thank you all for watching this week's edition of the Malone Tracker Service Eric Tilson Show. Look forward to seeing you next week here on Grassroots Media.